Yeah, Spoonie. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody's in the building. My guy Shane, what's good? Ubers, what's good? Marcus, I see you. Ted Prickett, excuse me. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Give it a like, give it a share. We'll have a fun hour or so here. My guy Jesse's in the building. What's going on, Jesse? A great comment right away here from my guy Marcus Spoonie. A great comment.
Okay.
Looking forward to the offense complimenting RD. Never thought I'd say that. Boy, that's definitely been going around in my head. Post game space, if you were there on Twitter talking about some of that stuff. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's an amazing time to be alive with this defense and where we are currently after 13 games, right?
Yes, sir.
It's what makes it fun, man. As I tell everybody, man, there's no better reality TV than the NFL. Just isn't it?
I love that.
Hit that like button. It's free. Hit the like button. It's free. I got Professor will be along here in just a minute. He's setting up. Marielle is going to be on a little of an injured reserve, if you will. She's out of town on business, so she couldn't join tonight. But don't worry, we're going to keep it in here. We're going to keep you rolling. We're going to have a good time. This is the GOAT Nixon, the GOAT Spoonie. Appreciate to the GOAT Shane. Appreciate that, man. All right, Spoonie, you was at the game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You was at the game.
Yes, I was.
Cowboy, tell the people, man. Cowboys Nation. Well, we were deep, huh?
Oh, listen, deep wasn't even the word.
Yeah.
I gotta say this, and I complete my NFC East rivalry. As far as going to team, I've been to Philly, I've been to Washington. Of course, I've been to Dallas. But I will say this: Cowboy Nation, we are the best fans in the effing world. You know why? Because
we travel.
When the quarter's out, we show up. And I'm talking about we took over the damn town. I'm talking about they had residents there who was charging because the parking lot was so damn full. Mm-hmm. They were charging people if there's no space in the parking lot for the Washington game, you could park in our parking lot for a small fee. That's how deep Cowboy fans were out there. Because if you're home there, pretty much you got everything set. We took over the whole town, and I'm talking about the minute in order to get past the stadium, you got to go by the houses. All you saw was nothing but Cowboy fans walking down saying, "We want Dallas."
Yeah.
I mean, it was something else. And I'm talking about, I got to say this, man. Listen, I know the New York Giants ain't calling us out. They understand the business.
Regular season, Marcus, they hope to have him back for the playoffs is the word on D-Hop. Keep going.
I mean, listen, y'all. I'm so proud of the fan base, man. Even Dak Prescott during his pre-warm-ups, he was yelling, "They came here for us. Yeah. They here with us." And I'm talking about, I mean, it was the electricity, the passion, the fire throughout the game. Nobody sat down. If you sat down, it was during intermission. They stood up yelling, screaming every single time. And I'm talking about the Washington fans out there. Yeah, they had a moment in the third quarter. That was done. It was over. It was beautiful.
Yeah. It was beautiful. Big facts. With that being said, as you said, they did have their moment in the sun. Really, the fourth quarter there, Spoon, not so much.
Fourth quarter, that's right.
Yeah, not so much. Not so much the third. So, obviously, the Cowboys came out defensively, did what they had to do, throughout the game. But I mean, obviously, scoring a touchdown in the first quarter. Give some love to LVE. We've given LVE his, letting people know, hey man, it's off a little bit,
right?
And he played a good game. I'll give another game ball out, Spoon. Yes, all right, I'm gonna give another game ball out to the kicker. Hey,
oh yeah,
Greg the Leg, he gives me Zerline, man. He upsets me at times for sure. It's definitely talked about some of those things here. But did what he had to do, against the Washington team on the road. Didn't miss any kicks. So I thought he missed that extra point. They gave it to him. We'll take it. But every time he lines up for an extra point, I'm always so concerned about it. It's just one of those things going down and going, around the league, right, when it comes to kickers. But those two guys in particular, Spoon, I want to talk about LVE, Greg the Leg. Solid games.
Yes.
Been a while for sure for LVE.
Yeah,
good to see him back doing those things. So, it's it definitely getting that on track. Special teams matter. You follow me on Twitter all the time. When we bought the extra point, I mean, special teams matter, and to see what Greg did, that's a good point there too. Greg has definitely been solid the past two games, but need to keep on staying on that track and let him get hot down the stretch. It's been we've seen people floated out there before. We're gonna get to the playoffs, and somewhere Greg's gonna cost us, and so on and so forth. So good time for him to get hot. We will get to some of the offensive struggles, right? They're there. We know. There's a great video. We got it posted in the Facebook group. You can also catch Baldy's breakdowns as well on Twitter about this offense. So we're going to get into that. But let's talk about this defense first. Let's talk about some good first, okay? We've been waiting, right, Spoon? We've been waiting. can we get everybody back? We
Yes.
finally got D-Law the week before. All right. Okay. Now Tristan Hill's back off the 1-game suspension. Okay. Here comes Randy Gregory back from the calf. And finally Gallimore, right? Been so excited to get Gallimore back in this thing.
Right.
Maybe a key to why LVE played so well, because they were keeping that guy clean, right?
Yes.
This
Yeah.
defensive front, Spoon.
Listen,
Live
man.
and in person, talk about him.
Listen. The action. I was in the lower level there, and I was blessed to be right behind Cowboys bench and see this defense, how they was with each other in the sidelines. And BJ, I want to just go a little backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not with violence like that, but when Dak was hit out of bounds.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the offense. Offensively.
Okay. We'll get there.
We'll sit to the defense.
I will say this. This defense right here is serious. And it's not just by the play, it's what they do on the sidelines, how they talk to each other, how they amp each other up. Javon Curse, Malik Cooker, those guys right there, those are my guys. I listen, they was amping up this defense throughout the whole game. Don't take your foot off the gas. We're gonna keep going. LVE, like you said, they kept them very clean. That defensive line was getting to Heineke. They was getting to Heineke. And this is 2 weeks in a row that have we seen this defense scoring touchdowns, fumbles, turnovers, back to back, giving it back to the offense. This is something where we didn't really envision in the beginning of the season. We all say it's going to take time. Now, how good they're going to get before the playoffs, we don't know. But we gave examples like the way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season, how they was. They was a brand new unit, but they came together at the right time, and bam, they just gel. And this defense right now, they are gelling in the right way. But I'm gonna tell you this right here. I'm not trying to, I don't want to overdo it with this type of defense, but this defense is reminding me of another team in the playoffs in the past. And I know it's the last 3 weeks, but BJ, somebody told me, and somebody asked me, and I didn't think I thought about it. I was like, nah, I don't know. But after watching again, Baltimore, they are playing like the way. And I'm sorry to say, listen. I know, BJ. You know me. I know.
Okay.
I know you're gonna take the lasso, Spoon. Come on.
Yeah. Easy.
But this defense is doing something. This defense is going above and beyond, and they're getting turnover. They are wreaking havoc. Now, listen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, Spoon, right? And and I came out, Monday and tweeted this and said, man, a lot of Cowboys fans are unresting. They're a little upset right now because it's such a different idea here in Cowboy land for the X amount of years where the defense is carrying the offense, and it's unnatural. They feel indifferent about it, and it's like, hey, it's okay. The defense gets paid too, right? And now as we're seeing, and this is why I kind of tagged it with becoming dominant. We've seen flashes, but we knew guys were out throughout the year. But now we're starting to see this front line completely intact to what's going on and becoming dominant now. See, and look, and those comparisons or whatever. See, to me, you said Ravens. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far, swing. But I will say this: there's, before, everyone's gonna say it was kind of like the Saints when they had their Super Bowl run. They're opportunistic.
That's
there's
fair.
There's shades of even say the Giants in 07, right? Because you got so many guys across the front could go get the quarterback. Right.
The NASCAR package. I get you.
And you're able to go get the quarterback, But there's just one. I mean, there's just one name that none of that Hot Boys missed, none of that stuff. It's just a doomsday. Can this defense get back to that doomsday defense, right? And I tell you, man, these pieces, how they're clicking, but they're coming back in. Gallimore was such a huge. I mean, as we talked about going into this game, stopping the run, right? That's how Washington really got on this 4-game winning streak, controlling the clock. Right, Gibson was getting 20 plus carries. He was averaging over 100 yards. That was the ticket. And my goodness, did they not come out in droves? This defensive line and handle business. For the line, the front seven just said, "No, not today. You're not going to run." And it was special to me because usually a team like that's been running the ball well is going to have their way at times, right? And they just didn't. And again, kudos to Osa. Now he gets to stay a little bit fresher, right, because of the Tristan Hills that are back,
Right.
and Gallimore, of course. I mean, and just in particular, like Gallimore on back-to-back plays. The first play, he basically walks the center into the quarterback. We don't champagne injuries. That's not what we do here. We don't, but he hurt both the quarterback and the center like holy hell. And then the very next play, he was a step away from getting a safety right afterwards. So yeah, just the impact and what we kind of thought about, what we talked about in the preseason about Gallimore, what he would mean to this front. It was awesome to see that on display his first game back. And the Tristan Hill guy was always the big question mark. We would have these conversations, right? Oh, Spoon, my guy, Cowboys fans in the building, J Tuck, what's going on, brother? And what we would say is, can Hill give us anything? Right? We were kind of like, we saw some flashes, but then he got hurt. We don't know where he's going to be at. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, Hill's been A1 since he's came back, and it's not just been a guy playing. Like you see flashes from him during the game, which is awesome to see him kind of pick that back up from where he left off when he was injured last year. Professor, some of the things maybe this defense becoming dominant. Spooney's out here trying to tell us it's the 2000 Ravens defense.
No, I'm like, not 2000, 99.
99. Okay, either way, hold
99.
up.
99 just came together. 2000 was elite. 99. Let me explain the PO. This is my thing. And I get the New York Giants in 2007, that NASCAR passes, that defensive front was big. But when I say the Ravens, we're not running the same type of scheme as the Ravens. But what I'm seeing as far as the personnel, in that secondary of the Ravens, who you had? You had Ed Reed at that safety. He was your ball hawk. Who's our guy in the secondary? We're having Trayvon Diggs. He's that guy. Okay, now, as far as the front seven, yeah, they have Silver Gusa. They have my boy Williams over there. The linebackers was, of course, with Ray Lewis in that middle anchor. But the difference is that in our 4-3 defense, okay, you have the rushes there. You have your line. You got Michael Parsons, my God. And I'm sorry to say, NFL, stop being fair and want to be nice. Give the man Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. He deserves it, hands down. We can argue that all night long. Credit to BJ. No, BJ, you got to start up, BJ.
But here's the thing.
Understand this. Give credit credit's due.
No, it's fine.
We got the boys playing.
Right.
I'm sorry to say, they are turning over. They are getting turnovers and say, here, offense. We don't get to do that. Let's be honest. We don't see that. They're saying, here, Dak. Here, Kellen Moore, take the ball. This defense is doing. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm just saying, this defense right here is doing some damage. It's not just 3 and nothing. That's it. They are taking the ball to the house or giving it to the offense. There you go.
Yeah, and I think it's a foregone conclusion now that Mike is going to get the Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's got a couple things he's got to check some boxes before he gets to the Defensive Player of the Year. But again, we're talking about this defense of being dominant, and one of the things, right? Third down efficiency. In 3 of 14 is where they held Washington. Matt, I think they were like second or third in the league. Are they number 1 in the league now on defense and third down efficiency?
Yeah, they were second last week, or coming into the game last week. Now they're the number 1 defense in the NFL. Opposing offenses are converting 30.19% of the third down attempts against us. And even on fourth down, we're 16th, but it's still pretty respectable. We're 47% fourth down conversion rate. So overall, third and fourth down, we're doing a good job getting off the field.
Defensively, as we were talking here, as you were coming on, we, talking about these guys coming back, becoming dominant. What do you think about this defense now as we're kind of coming down the stretch? They're getting to full tilt. We got to finally see this first game with the quote unquote, right, the big 3, Micah, Law, and Gregory. What are your thought process now seeing them against Washington? We kind of know quarterback-wise a little, but hot team though, right? Hot team on the road in your division, 4-0, good run game. We saw what this defense did. What is your takeaway getting these guys back in here? Where do you think they can go?
Yeah, real quick, just want to apologize. Right when we started and it went live and I popped up on the screen, I started hearing the fire alarm beep, meaning it needed battery change. So I was like, I can't do an entire show. It's going to be annoying. They'll be able to hear it. So let me go change the batteries out.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the type of battery it'd be or whatever that weird shaped battery.
9 volt.
Yeah. So I grabbed one of those thinking that's what it is. This is a different type. It has like 3 AAAs. So I had to go like run back and grab other batteries. I'm like, all right, this is... But again, I did it for you guys, not for me, for you
That
guys,
part.
because I didn't want you to hear that
Beep.
like every 8 minutes or whatever. All right, so defense. I won't go I don't know that we're the 99 Ravens or the 2000 Ravens or any of those.
Right.
I see the analogy and where you're coming from, but I don't know that I'm quite there yet. I'm glad
Right.
you are, and hopefully I'll be there soon. I'm a believer in the defense. I'm excited about what they do. We have playmakers at multiple levels, which is tough. A lot of times it's not that hard to find multiple pass rushers or to find some good linebackers or to find a good secondary. It's hard to get all of them together, and we have pieces at every position right now. So that's exciting. I guess where I'm resistant, and I'll jump into the game in a second, but where I'm resistant to say where that Ravens defense is the secondary at safety, even though we're excited about it. There's a lot of one-year deals there, so we don't know what it's going to look like next year. And that's where I'm having that. Like, if we had one of those guys locked down for 2 or 3 or 4 years, it'd be a little bit easier for me to be like, yeah, we're going to keep going. But right now, I'm like, it may be clean house next year. I have no idea. But jumping into the game, yeah, it was exciting to see Gallimore. I heard you guys highlight some of the plays, but I mean, getting that to package with a guy like Osa, who's done so much for us as a rookie, having a guy to spell him, and then as you guys mentioned, Tristan Hill, and then we finally got a few chances to see all 3 of the big pass rushers all at one time. And it's funny because on those plays, I was like, oh, we're going to destroy them on the outside, but it was actually the inside because suddenly those guys like Gallimore and Osa no longer had a double team. They were single block because we had to double team one of the outside rushers.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the plays that Gallimore blew up their interior offensive line. So yeah, it was exciting to see. And I apologize if you guys said it when I was changing the batteries, but LVE, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a long time. It was good to see him making plays again. So overall, I thought the defense as a whole did what we wanted them to do. Antonio Gibson, NFC leading rusher coming into the game, basically did nothing aside from one run, had a fumble, did pretty much nothing else the rest of the game. Taylor Heineke, for whatever reason, our fans are just like, this guy's slippery. He's the next Tony Romo. They didn't go that far, but they're, fans dude up. And I'm like, he's a Jag. He's like the 36th or 37th best quarterback. Like he's a very good backup and a guy that can start when needed, but he's not. Washington will not make him their day one starter next year. So I don't know why we worried about him in the first place, but I'm glad our defense reminded people that it's not a fluke. It's not a defense that does this once in a while or, one good game a month. Like they're pretty consistent. They have a couple games here and there where we get exposed in terms of yardage, but they do a good job consistently of getting off the field on third down and getting takeaways. And if you can do those two things, you have a very good defense that could be a 99 2000 Ravens defense. I'm not quite there yet, Spoonie, but I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing, Antonio Gibson, 10 carries for 36 yards, just couldn't get it out of the mud, right? And yeah, we did speak about LVS, and hey, as much as we've been killing them here and there, great game. First time he's had a good game in a long time, and maybe we can attribute that they're able to keep him clean because you had Tristan Hill and Gallimore there in front of him, and part of the package here of that is not only having the big 3 back, but if they're able to keep LVE clean, we can get this play from LVE. We talked about this defense having the opportunity to be better down the stretch than they were earlier in the year, even though I think this defense played over its head, during the season, what we were hoping for, especially with the injuries, and to get these guys back, and get hot down this stretch, because, boy, it's going to be tough for these Giants this week, I believe. Some COVID hit them and ravaged them. We'll kind of get to that here in a minute. But yeah, for the rest of this year, and I don't know about beyond, as you spoke about, because man, there's a bevy of guys on 1-year deals, and we'll see how that plays out. But as far as this year, this defense has an opportunity, to be one of the better defenses we've had in the past 20 years, and I think they're kind of already doing that to a certain extent. Now, how far will it get us? Where we want to ultimately go, we have to see, because we got to talk about this offense, and these struggles that we're having with the offense. And it's funny because all the talk, going into the season and the first 4 or 5 games is if this defense could just come along and, and just be around ranked 15th. They rip 15th, don't give up a ton of points, maybe get some timely turnovers and do that right. Then, we got a good opportunity. And nobody looked or had this on their bingo card of defense winning games for the offense by week 13, 14. Nobody had it on the bingo card. So with that being said, Spoon, This offense, man. These offensive woes, man.
Listen, it's a slump. BJ, we spoke in the chat. Me, Professor O, J Tug is married, and you point out the shoulder. Dak injured. For what I've seen, he came out after every play and the sidelines. He was warming up with Cooper Rush, getting his arm right. Normally, it's just my opinion. I'm not saying he's injured, but just for me, I've always felt that when you warm up like that, there's something wrong. That could be, we don't know if it's true or not, but it could be part of the issue. The play call with Kellen Moore is keeping the game so. We were used to the explosive plays in the beginning of the season. Now we've seen everything's pretty much being short, which it led to a costly turnover by Dak Prescott, which brought the Washington football team back in the game in the fourth quarter. I've seen Zeke in the sidelines get very upset when he's pulled out the game because of the pass blocking by Clement wasn't that good on certain plays. He wanted to get back in the game. There's a lot of things going on with his offense, and it's a mix of injuries, play calls by Kellen Moore. I know you said you guys said in the past about knowing your personnel. I believe it was Professor O, know your personnel, where you put the guys in best position to make some plays. I think it's a mix of all that right there. But I feel they'll get it together.
They have time. Yeah, I mean, they got time. Time's fleeting. Right. Boy, this Giants game needs to be a get-right game for them with everything that's going on over there in Giant Land. Really obviously this past week, 1 for 6 touchdown conversions in the red zone, 1 to 6 in the red zone. Not going to get you there. That's bad. It's ugly. There was a great video out by by Brian Baldinger, Baldy's breakdowns, that showed a lot of different things, not just on Dak, but other things that were happening as well. And that's kind of what we talked about here before on this channel and on Twitter. It's a little bit of everything, right, Matto? It's not just look, yes, Dak has a hand in this for sure. Nobody here is going to say Dak is playing great and they need to do stuff around him. But I think the frustrating thing is just a little bit of everything from Kellen Moore to Dak to sometimes with the wide receivers, and obviously the injuries at running back aren't helping things either. This weird shuffle game on the offensive line, it's just kind of been a little bit of everything with this offense. You brought up an interesting stat about some 12 and 11 personnel though this week in Washington. And I think that's very telling.
Yeah, it genuinely feels like right now the Cowboys are in that situation where they know something's wrong, so they're trying to fix it, and the things that they're doing to try to fix it are just making it even worse. It feels like it's one of those situations where they should just say, hey, let's stop adjusting. Let's just go back to what we did earlier in the season, which people might say, well, that's easier said than done. But when we had Blake Jarwin the first 7 weeks of the season, we were in 11 personnel, and again, that's 1 back, 1 tight end, and 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. 11 personnel was 55% of the time. Right now, it's 71% of the time since then. That's a huge jump. We were in 12 personnel 33% of the time. We're in 12 personnel 21% of the time. So again, huge difference right there. So even the formations and personnel groupings themselves are different. Looking at what we did this week, so we were in 11 personnel 78% of the time. We were in 12 personnel 14% of the time. And when we were in 12, we ran 100% of the time in that formation. So what does that do, guys? If you're a defensive coordinator watching film the last 4 weeks, you can just literally tell your secondary, hey, safeties, go ahead and cheat up when they're in 12. Linebackers, go ahead and cheat up when they're in 12. It's almost for sure a run. Almost for sure. Over that 4-game window, the 12 personnel run rate is 91% of the time or something insane. It's so far out of norm. You can just essentially just play run when we're in 12. And then in 11 personnel, we're doing the complete opposite. It's not quite as extreme, but we're passing in 11 personnel the last 4 games, 83%, 82%, 79%, 66%. So when you average those out, it's 74.5% pass rate when we're in 11 personnel. So literally we're tipping our plays to our opponents. They don't know what play it is, but they know what we're going to do. And when you can do that at a high level against any average to high level defense, you're just making their life easier. So again, I feel like we need, when I say balance, and Nick's made a great point of talking about this earlier, when we talk about run pass ratio, 50-50 is not a thing anymore. 60-40, something like that. You can't be 100% run rate in one formation and 85% in the other formation, because when you're that extreme with it, it's just too obvious.
Yeah.
You allow the defensive ends to pin their ears back and say, hey, it's 11. I am almost 100% sure they're going to pass. I'm just going after the quarterback. I don't have to worry about anything else. And then when they're in 12, it's the complete opposite. You're like, I don't have to worry about containing. I know it's a run. I don't have to worry about my deep zone. I can go ahead and cheat up a couple steps to take away that run and get there even quicker, fill that gap. And then suddenly a hole that would have been there before is now so small that even if your running back hits it, it's a 3-yard gain instead of a 9-yard gain because they were allowed to cheat up. So, yeah, I feel like they're just discombobulated. I did not expect Blake Jarwin's absence to be nearly as big as it is, but it seems to be that case.
Yeah. Again, just not trusting, back to the 12 personnel, it's just he's not trusting the throw out of it for whatever reason. And, at times it also seems like they're 12 personnel just because to help the blocking game in general. But you're right. Like, I mean, you can take an average defense, but if they can key, everybody plays Madden, you can highlight and guess, pass, or run. Well, if you don't have to guess, you can take even an average defense and make them even better. They don't have to be a great defense on this level when you kind of are given those kind of keys, right? Kind of like baseball, it's like a pitcher tipping the pitches. Well, I know I can sit on this pitch because it's coming. And, they go through those rough stretches. That's kind of what's happening here with this offense right now is that. So they have to get back. This is where Kellen Moore, again, or Mike McCarthy, I should say, this is where Mike McCarthy needs to sit down with more. And I'm saying that he's not doing that, okay? I'm not saying that he's not doing that. What I am saying is, if he's not, he needs to be, right? This is where Mike McCarthy needs to use his experience as a play caller in this league, even for a Super Bowl team, and, say, hey, look, man, there's some things here. We need to look at this. We need to switch some things and get to some other things in your bag from what we're doing. Now, obviously,
Can I throw something in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I do agree with you on Mike McCarthy. What I'd add a step to that. If I was Mike McCarthy right now, I would go to Dan Quinn, George Edwards, and Joe Witt and say, hey, all three of you, I want you to watch the Cowboys offense and game plan how you would beat us. We have 3 guys. 2 of them have been defensive coordinators and had success in the NFL. And then one of them is highly respected and probably will be a defensive coordinator. I'd say, you let me know what tendencies you're picking up on. Let me know where we're tipping
past
it.
4 games. Do
yeah,
it for the
last 4 games.
Yeah, no, fair. Absolutely. Hell, just one of those guys. You ain't got to get all 3. Just give me one of those guys to go do it and turn around and do that. But they got to shake it up. They got to do some different things to kind of get that thing rolling. And look, tape's not good on McGovern, guys. It's just it's just not good. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's very bad. And just I'll tell you what. If they're not going to put Connor in, I might say go ahead and put Collins over there guard and run with what you call it.
Oh,
I'm joking. I'm joking. It's an easy solution.
Yeah, I get you.
It's an easy solution. Just put Connor Williams back in this offense. Look, we understand the penalties and whatnot. Here's what I completely believe, though, when it comes to Connor Williams. I think Dak's more comfortable. And if we're talking about getting Dak out of the slump and doing things to get him comfortable back to throwing and doing the things that he's doing, let's make him comfortable up front. And I don't think from watching, I went through and I watched the game about 3 times now and did some cut-ups on some tape with the offensive line, and I'll see what y'all say too. I just don't think Dak's comfortable with McGovern. McGovern's getting beat quick. I mean, hella quick. And it's one thing to get beat by power. He's not just getting beat by power, though, at times. I mean, he's whiffing on guys. And yeah, I mean, he's whiffing like just, and I'm blocking air. It's not good. I think the simple solution at this point, because we were talking on the Twitter space doing the post game, and somebody said, "Oh, it's too late. It's too late in the season. You can't fix this offense." I was like, well, I don't believe that, because we've seen this offense do well before. We can't get right. We can't get Jarwin back. It looks that way. Everything says it's a bad hip. They're kind of being mum on it. I don't think Jarwin's coming back this season. If he comes back, great. But on top of that, what made Dak feel comfortable? And that's whenever it was Connor Williams over there. So, yeah, man. I get it. As Kima says, Philbin possibly lobbying for McGovern. We knew this in in preseason whenever they kept trying to make Connor Williams a center. They wanted McGovern at guard. They wanted him. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, how he played in the Bucs game out the gate, gave them even more reason to want him to play because he was making the offensive line calls. He held his own for the most part, but it's not been good since they've made the switch. And I just don't understand why they wouldn't go ahead and just go ahead and go back to Connor Williams. But I think that to me would help at least, maybe not the play calling, what you're talking about there, Matto, which needs to be helped, but at least makes Dak more comfortable, I think. What do you think, Spoon?
No, listen, I go back. We go back a couple of weeks when Professor O came out and said that at this point I wouldn't even switch the guys. I would let Connor McGovern develop from training camp and move on. But I think, in my opinion, that this is a personnel move where they're getting ready to move on from Connor Williams, and they want to make sure if Connor McGovern is the future guard for this team. I don't like it. I agree with Matt O what he said a couple of weeks ago. Hell, I didn't agree with Jay Tuck for what he said as far as this draft. Listen, we got to adjust the offensive line early on ASAP if we want to become that dominant O line again. I don't like the shuffling. It's bad for rhythm. It's bad for Dak Prescott. You need your offensive line to know how to play with each other. It's that good structure, and they don't have it right now. I don't like it.
Yeah, Matto. I mean, again, I'm just thinking of ways, as you just talked about, let's go have them scheme, and we talk about McCarthy maybe helping Kellen, getting Connor Williams back in here at guard. Do you think that maybe makes Dak more comfortable, maybe gets him back in the rhythm?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't want them to make the move in the first place. I understand from an organization standpoint why you would do that, like Spoonie alluded to. You have a guy who's going to be an impending free agent. He's probably going to cost quite a bit of money because he had a relatively – I don't even say relatively. He had a good season early on, except for the penalties. So I think teams are going to say, hey, 9 penalties or 10 penalties, whatever it was, 3 or 4 of them were iffy. I can live with that. If my running back's averaging 5.9 yards per carry running behind that dude, I can live with that. Right. If he's giving up 1 sack in 9 games, I can live with that. I can live with an occasional hold. So I understand the Cowboys saying we're probably not going to be able to afford him. We have this young guy that we think has potential. Let's see what's happening. The penalties are getting too extreme. The refs are targeting him. I get it. Like I do get it. But it's been 4 weeks and it's been bad all 4 weeks. There's not been a slight progression where like be honest, we were all on. I probably started that train where I was like,
yeah, you was out. You was like,
issue.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you wasn't tuned in after the Tampa game, Matt was like, be honest, I'm done. I was like, well, hold on. I was like, wait, hold on, wait. I'm like, just one game. Give him a chance, Matt. Matt's like, no, I saw the tape, fam. That ain't it.
Yeah, that's not it. You can't snap. You can't block. So and then he had 2 or 3 games in a row like that. I'm like, this is an issue. And then suddenly that 4th game came around, and then the 5th game, and then the Patriots game. Really, he seemed to hit his stride. He's been pretty solid since then. He needs to get better, but he's been better. But McGovern, we have not seen anything remotely like. It's not like suddenly he had a good run blocking game, but the pass pro is still a little bit weak. He's not been good on either side of the ball. Like you said, he's off balance. He's getting blown up. Watch the highlights from Baldy. Not highlights, but watch the little clip from Baldy. Literally, that little segment alone, you will see him being blown up more in a 2-minute clip than a single game of Connor Williams this year. Seriously, think about that. A linebacker blew him up in the clip. Payne, he had no chance on. He just went right backwards. Like, it's bad. So, yes, I do think in terms of – I don't know that putting Connor magically fixes everything, but I absolutely think it's a huge step in the right direction because suddenly Dak's like, I have some confidence there. I have a guy with familiarity because now they're looking at Tyler, 4 games last year, not a full season yet, so he's still learning the position. Right. You have Connor McGovern, 5 NFL starts now, right. And then you have Terrance Steele at left tackle. Like, that's what we have right now from center to left tackle. That's scary. If you're a team that already is having offensive line woes, I would much rather, especially knowing that Tyron's out right now, have at least a guy with some veteran experience right there in between, a guy with a little bit of vet savvy that's like, hey, I whiffed, I have to grab him. I'm not getting my quarterback crushed. Not like, hey, I whiffed, let me just stand here and watch my quarterback get hit. Like, I take the hold now. Right. And again, a 10-yard holding penalty. Yes, it can be frustrating, especially when you have a 3rd and 5 and now it's 3rd and 15. But I'll take 1 10-yard penalty versus 20 carries where we're averaging 2 yards less a carry. Or 35 passes where we're averaging 1.5 yards less per pass. Like, think about that. You're talking a difference of 70 or 80 yards in one versus 1 10-yard penalty. Like, we need to make the move.
Yeah, and again, if nothing else, just in the interest of helping Dak get comfortable, right? The next thing to maybe kickstart this offense, in y'all's opinion. So we've talked about Kellen Moore, right? He's tipping his play calling a little bit. The numbers are out there. What Mike McCarthy can do, as we talked about. I said get in the room with him. Matt, you said, hey, have somebody on that defensive side. Game plan our last 4 games. Show them the tendencies if they're not catching on to that. Good job there. We're talking about this offensive line. Getting Big Connor Williams in makes the running game better, right? Which is also great for us. And B, gives Dak maybe a little bit more stability where he kind of gets back on track. What do you think the next step is to get this offense kind of moving in the right direction, Matt?
We talked about it in our private chat, but I think tempo is a big thing. It's especially as Cowboys fans, if you think about the Romo era, different offensive coordinators, didn't matter if it was Bill Callahan, Linehan, didn't matter if it was Jason Garrett, Tony Sperano, whoever we had. When we went 2 minutes, suddenly the offense started clicking because you're taking a lot of the thinking and second guessing from the coaching staff versus a guy who's on the field and has a feel for it. And it just makes it a little bit less, there's less thinking involved. It's more reaction like, hey, let's go. Let's get them on their heels. Let's take advantage of them being in a bad personnel grouping against us. So I definitely think tempo is something to go to. Now, I'm not saying you do the Chip Kelly where you're, calling plays on the sideline the entire game, but definitely in little spurts here and there, I think that goes well. We did it last game, 1 series. I'd like to see it more than that, maybe 5 or 6 series throughout the course of the game, maybe start out the second half and hurry up, things like that to get the defense off balance, because I feel like right now we're doing a lot of let's attack what they're giving us instead of, hey, let's impose our will on them. We have Dak. We have a decent offensive line. We have multiple weapons at receiver. We have a decent tight end. We have a running game who can be lethal when healthy. So I feel like right now it's just like, hey, but they're playing off, so let's take advantage of that. I'm like, no, let's attack them. Like, let's do what we did early in the season where we're like, we have these weapons. You don't have the weapons to stop them. We're going to make you stop it. And right now it's just like, it may be there. Let's just try a screen or a check down. And I feel like it's too cautious. So my 2 things would be, 3 things would be get Connor Williams back.
Yep.
Tempo.
Yep. And
attack. A little bit more aggressive play calling.
Spoony, what do you think, man? We got Mike McCarthy working with Kellen Moore. We're going to do a little bit of tempo, right? And we're going to get Connor Williams back at guard. What else are we doing here to maybe help this offense out get back on track?
Hey, listen, this is why we call him the professor. And he hit on the head. You need tempo. You gotta hit these guys. Don't stop with what they're giving us. Attack. You have the personnel to do what you want to do. There's no weakness when it comes to CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Dontel and Schultz. These guys have proven they can take anybody apart. That's number one. Number 2, hit the edges a couple of times. Set the edge. That was the one thing they barely did last week. Yeah. BJ, I remember you and Professor kept on talking about it. Yeah. They didn't do it very often. You did it with CeeDee Lamb, but again, I don't want my receiver doing that because at the end of the day, look at the hits he's taking. He is good what he's doing on the other side, on the wide receiver spot, not at the running back position. I don't like that. And on top of that, again, Kellen Moore, know your personnel. Yeah. Listen. When you set the tempo, you're basically telling the defense, I don't care what you're putting in front of me. I'm going to chop it up. Plain and simple. That is it. You got to match right now with the type of tempo the defense is giving you. You got to match in order to grow. Now, Connor Williams, I definitely agree with that. You got to put that man there. Penalties is penalties, but as long as Dak Prescott's not getting touched and on the ground, that's what you want. That's what you want. It shouldn't be based off of the game against the Patriots. I mean, that was after that game. That's when it got away from Connor Williams, and it shouldn't. That's a very good defense. End of the day, look what Connor McGovern's doing, and again, he's getting thrown out, and it's based off of his good game at right guard when Zach Martin missed, I think, a game or 2. And it's again, he's not doing well over there. And on top of that, you're gonna have Terrance Steele in the left tackle spot. Kellen Moore really has to know his personnel. And do a better, in my opinion, do a better job in trying to going back to what they were used to doing. Again, you have injuries here and there, but that's part of the job. Know your personnel. We've seen Dan Quinn do for the defense. You miss D-Law, okay, I got somebody on here. I know what they're good at. He made it work, and now everybody's back. Kellen Moore got to do the same for the offense.
Yeah, and I think also, too, we talked about, let's get these guys on the edges. We saw, against the Saints. We got some runs to the edges. Oh wow,
Right.
look what happened. Some of the best runs we did against Washington. We got to the edges.
Right.
Good things kind of happened. I think my big, and of course, back to Kellen Moore, and I talked about this leading to the game. I'm like, man, they're down to like their 4th, 5th, 6th defensive ends, but we know about those 2 guys in the middle. We know what Payne and Allen are like. We know those guys. Yeah. So let's attack these edges. And some of you just spoke on there. So let's attack the edges here. Right. And when it comes to Kellen, a lot of times he might, quote unquote, as he says, attack aggressively, but he doesn't. It doesn't seem all the time that he's willing or forward thinking in, I'm going to attack the weaknesses of the defense until they show me they can stop it at times.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something else to be had there. That's something that's, part of him growing as a play caller. I don't think that's something that here we are after 13 games is magically going to change, his DNA on that. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's anything for us that we can do right now. But I'm with you. A little bit of the tempo. I don't know about talking to Dak for 15 seconds, how they used to do over there. I don't think that's really necessary. But yeah, I do think that motion, I mean, man, boy, we have spent a lot of time over the past 2 years talking about pre-snap motion, and kind of do some things with that. And the numbers are out there analytically to show how much more it helps your offense when you have pre-snap motion. No different than play action. And think about play action as well. You don't have to run the ball for play action to work. It's out there. The numbers are out there on that too. So there's just certain things that we don't get to in the bag that's not in his playbook. Now, can that be something they install some new wrinkles? Sure. Now that I think they can do. But as far as the DNA of how he's drawing up the game plan, I don't know. But I think some of these things that we're talking about here in the chat, and we're talking about, sure, pre-snap motion, you can do that. That's a wrinkle, right? We've seen it from Kellen at times before. And then, of course, the as we talked about before, just getting a little quicker out the gate. Not the whole game like Matt O, just like Matt O said, a couple times in the first, to get him jump started, right? And then maybe come out in the second half, your first drive, right, and get a kick started in and kind of go. So, at a certain point, you got to try certain things. The puzzling thing as well, and before we wrap up the woes of the Cowboys offense here recently, the wide receiver miscommunication. Wrong routes, lazy routes, some drops. And again, this is just where everything kind of culminates into one thing. Because if Dak does have it delivered, all of a sudden we got the Michael Gallup drop. Right. And then he's got to play, and here's Amari Cooper over here. Okay, and obviously last weekend, this week, him and Lamb have looked at it and seen 2 different things. Even the interception, he shouldn't have thrown the ball. Okay, he should have thrown the ball to Schultz. Schultz should have carried the waggle onto the sideline though, and it's not a problem. But with that being said, the lack of communication, or the breakdown of communication, I guess I should say, Matt Owen, with these wide receivers and some of the things that are happening. And, you even brought up a certain thing too in the red zone. You had like 2 wide receivers down the field running the rest within 5 yards of each other. Not much hope for Dak there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the routes are probably my biggest complaint with Kellen, even more so than tipping his plays. Like CeeDee Lamb, when all 3 of us are, and probably everybody in the chat, when you think of CeeDee Lamb, you think he's our dynamic, explosive player. Why would you ever run a hitch route or a curl route or a comeback route with him? Because all you're doing is you're stopping his speed, making him adjust and come back with his back turned to the secondary. So even if he does catch it, most likely he's going to get tackled right afterwards. He's a guy you want catching the ball in stride. So you call crossing routes and slants and deep routes and posts and things like that. So when he's catching the ball, he's already moving upfield, and he's going to make a guy miss. We've seen him do it a number of times. I just don't see the crossing routes. Whip routes, this is my favorite route personally as a wide receiver, and Amari is absolutely lethal with it.
Yes.
For those that don't know, I'll try to draw on the screen, but basically you come up, go inside, and then you pivot and go back outside. What it's doing is you're selling an inside route. They don't know if you're doing a cross. They don't know if you're doing an in. They don't really know what the route is. And if it's in man coverage, you're going to have separation. And if it's in zone coverage, at some point when he pivots to go back out, there's going to be a hole. So basically it's uncoverable unless you have an elite man cover guy, which very few have. But anyways, yeah, the route combos don't make any sense. We're having a lot of, like, for instance, Body put up the situation where Dak threw a post corner. That's what he thinks that Amari's doing. And Amari's literally like hopping and jogging downfield. Like he had no purpose at all with his route. He was, I don't know if he just didn't think it was going his way or there was a confusion there, but like Amari's been here. Dak's been here. Like it's easy to say like, Well, Semi Fehoko is new. He's learning. Like, well, Semi's not out there, but it'd be easy to
Yeah.
make that excuse for him. Like, these guys are vets. Like, they've been here. This shouldn't happen as often as it is. So I don't know what's causing that confusion, but that's something that has to stop. Like, you can't have that happen week in and week out. That's very frustrating. But yeah, our route tree is very frustrating for me and a lot of fans. Like, I think shallow crossing routes should be like a staple
Yes.
of your offense.
Yes.
That's what the Patriots do like 85% of the time when they're throwing. You have two guys going across, someone's going to be open, and no cornerback, even guys like Diggs, who are playmakers, are going to carry a receiver 45 yards across the field. The field's 53 and a half yards wide.
Yeah.
A long way to cover. They're going to eventually have a window to throw the ball. Like, we just don't do it. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and then you even think about the wide receivers that we have, and you talk about CD and even a Michael Gallup, right?
Right.
Them drag routes, baby. You got to get them on. Yeah, the route combos I don't understand, but here's my thing about it too, though, Spoonie, is even with that being had with these route combos, combinations they're doing, the wide receivers are getting it wrong now. Like, what happened? Like, it's almost like something broke behind the scenes, and whatever it is, none of us knows. I mean, we're talking about injuries. We're talking about this. The flip. Something happened to this offense. Broncos said they put out. They had the blueprint. I mean, since that time outside of the Rams game, right? Or not Rams, the Falcons game.
Yeah.
Spoonie?
Yeah, no,
it's been ugly for this offense.
No, listen, and you're absolutely right. Ever since that Broncos game, that was the worst loss of the season. It was just out of whack, and when it boils down to it, of course we go to the Raiders game, we're missing some pieces there, but that Broncos game, they had pretty much everybody there, and it was just bad overall. But this is when Kellen Moore Mike McCarthy has to come out and try to assist Kellen Moore in this offense. Listen, I'm a fan of Ben McAdoo. I mean, I know fans look at him as the Giant. I'm looking at him before the New York Giants. He was one of the brightest OCs available when the Giants picked him up. He's not in. He left the Giants out of politics, not out of bad play calls. And I'm a fan of him. Being part of this team to help with experience to help out Kellen Moore. It needs to happen. It really does need to happen. I understand Jerry Jones has Kellen Moore as the golden boy of the future of this team, but let's be honest, the way this team is going, we don't want to be like that during the playoffs. We want to go into the playoffs hot. We want to go to the playoffs without question. We want to be that dominant team. We don't have time in the playoffs to make adjustments or let's fix it. No, you got to fix it now. And it's a great opportunity to do it where we're playing some of these teams who may not be full in sync. Well, here's the thing. Work it out now. Get to know what makes these guys better. Kellen Moore, listen, dig deep into that hat, and try to, what it is, you got to make it work, because what we're seeing now was not like in the beginning of the season at all.
Well, and
I got to correct you real quick, Spoonie. We don't want Kellen Moore to dig deep in the hat, because that's what happens every time we get in the red zone. He is like, triple reverse, flea flicker.
Yeah, it gets way too cute.
Like every single time we get to the red zone, at least once a game, that's where he's like, "Here's my trick play. I'm calling it."
It's a great point there, Spoon. As we're getting to these Giants, it's a get right game. All right, like if you're gonna, there's you only got 4 games ahead of you now, and you win 2. Forget everything else that can happen. You win the next 2. You clinch the division, okay? But this offense, needs to start coming along for the ride now. Funny that we got to say that, not the defense, and especially just not only where they are as a franchise this year, the Giants, but they're ravished with COVID right now. There's going to be a lot of guys, the Xavier McKinney's of the world, right, so on and so forth. They're not going to be playing this week on the defense for them. Leonard Williams has a shoulder injury, I think it is.
It's his elbow. Elbow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is, but something with his elbow.
Yeah, elbow.
Leonard Williams.
Yeah, Leonard Williams with the elbow. He's not playing. So they're missing a big, defensive line piece. They're missing a starting safety. I think the cornerback out as well. I mean, right here, right now, if this offense is going to find their confidence and get right, this is the perfect time to get it started.
Yeah. Momentum.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think this defense is going to continue doing what they're doing. And it's weird because, like, again, as I said earlier, man, it feels like something at the star behind the scenes broke. I don't know what it is. I don't get it. I wish I knew. I was a fly on the wall in there hearing some of these meetings because it drives me crazy. But something happened and they haven't been right. Because even right, so the Broncos and the blueprint was out. Then you came right back against the Falcons, reminded everybody who they were offensively. And to be clear, the Saints have a pretty damn good defense, and the Cowboys played fairly decently, but there was just some wonky stuff there. The Thanksgiving Day game, it wasn't all the way out of pocket, but we got right. The offense got hot, if you will.
Right.
So they've shown flashes, and even in this Washington game, when you're in the red zone 6 times, I mean, it wasn't lack of not moving the ball, especially in the first half. Second half's a different story. But once you got there, you couldn't seal the deal. They have to get right. Right? No. He says I blame the red. Get there. No.
He's right, though. That's when it all started.
No, I don't care. No. It started. No, I'm not even buying that. Get it out of here. I want the red stripe every year. I'm sorry.
It was cool looking.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, if the offense is going to get right, it has to be this week. If they don't get right this week with what's going on with the New York Giants, I don't know if they can get right for the rest of the year, guys.
Yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is the game right here. This is the only game, this only team on the schedule left that has a lot of issues. After that, I mean, as of right now, we got Washington after the Giants. Then you got the Eagles, and let's see who knows how they're going to be like after this week. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals, which I already said.
It's Giants, Washington, Arizona, then Eagles.
Yeah, pardon me.
Yeah.
So in a game, that Arizona Cardinal game, that's the game that you really going to need to be in sync, because that's the game, maybe something on the line that maybe benefit the Cowboys going to the playoffs. But again, my whole thing is that this Giant game is more than just to get the W. It's to fix what's broken. And listen, I know during the predictions last week, when we said what's going to be the score of this game, they should have scored 45 points. It was what, 20,
it was there in front
24 to zip.
Yeah.
By halftime, there was no way to only score 3 points in the second half. Now, don't get me wrong, win is a win. But if this was a better team than Washington, that team could have came up, because we can't expect the defense to keep bailing the offense out. You got to put up points, and that's a problem. And I don't want this team to be like, well, we got the W. It is what it is. No, it's more than a W. You're not playing like yourselves. The defense was a problem at the beginning of the season. We all worried about. The defense has arrived. They had the expectation of this defense it surpassed what we felt it was going to be. Now it's time for the offense to meet that defense, and you put them together right here. You're going to have a fiery team in the playoffs to go ham. Again, it may be only 2 to 3 games in that playoff. You're not going to have time to fix what needs to be fixed. Get it done now.
Oh, if the Cowboys offense struggles this week, do you think it's just what it is the rest of the way, or do you think there's opportunity for them to still maybe find themselves?
Well, I'm an eternal optimist, so I think there's still opportunity to find themselves. But this is definitely a game where you should see some of the things cleaned up. Like the last 3 weeks, we have 27% red zone scoring rate. Like come on, with the weapons we have, and overall for the season, we're 55% red zone scoring, which is like 24th overall. Like with what we have, you can't do that. The last thing I just want to mention on the Kellen Moore thing, you have to be smart as an offensive coordinator and say, hey, we just got a takeaway on defense. This is the single best time while we have the momentum to attack. Yeah. That's when you do play action and take a shot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because if you're running for 2 yards on first down anyways, you're going to have a second and long. You may as well take that opportunity when the offense is hyped up. Defense just got a takeaway. They're back on the field. Defense is hyped up. Your whole sideline's there. And it's the complete opposite for the opposing team. That's when you take your shot. So, this is a game. We're playing a team that literally with a loss, any loss the rest of the season, they're eliminated. Even if they win, there's a pretty solid shot they're going to be eliminated after this week. This is a lame duck team. You're playing against Mike Glennon at quarterback. You're playing against a head coach that may or may not be back, even though they said he will be. You have a GM who's going to be gone after this season. There's a lot of negativity in that locker room. And you're a team that all you have to do is win, and you have the division wrapped up for all intents and purposes. There's still a couple other things that need to happen, but you win, it's pretty much yours. You have a 99% chance to make the playoffs as it is, and the 94% chance to win the division today. So, we've asked them, you have to step up and beat a good team. We were close against Tampa, but didn't do it.
Right.
Kansas City, we just didn't show up really at all on offense. We did have the New England game, which now after the fact looks like a huge win against a good team on the road. But like, this is a game, if you're going to do it, you're playing a bad defense. You're playing a bad team. You're playing a weak offense. Like, everything should be in a perfect storm in your favor. And we've already put up 40 on them earlier when they had better players available. Like Kadarius Toney, who had a big game against us, isn't going to play. Like, if you're going to do it, this should be the game. But it's possible to do it the next week against Washington. But yes, to answer your question, it should be this week.
Question here from the 94s. Our offense seems to be something you see during like preseason. Looks like Linehan. Could they be playing vanilla on purpose so playoff teams don't have video on plays they'll use then? I'm not a buyer of that personally. If either one of y'all are, by all means.
I know I was discussing. It was one of the fans during the game. He was talking about that. He was saying, he know that team have done in the past. I said, well, I totally understand that, but I said, here's the thing. When you're playing this bad, it could definitely bring down the team uninspired. We don't want that. The difference what I saw on the sidelines during the Washington game was that when the defense came on the sideline, the energy was up. It was all in each other's face, X, Y, and Z. When the offense came on the field, you had the wide receivers went to their bench. You had Dak sat with the quarterback with Cooper Rush and X, Y, and Z, and you had.
Do you believe he's being vanilla or not, Spoon?
No, but I'm just saying. It's a part of me. It's a part of me that understands it. Part of me understands it, but the part of me that don't understand, that I don't like it and I don't believe in it, is because when you're playing this bad, it brings down the morale of the team. It really does. It can really break that team spirit. And I've seen some of that during this past game. You see no mesh at all. Nothing. You see Marty Cooper walk to the sideline just pissed off after they set up for a field goal. It's not a good look. You go from scoring a touchdown in the first quarter to now you can't even move the ball, and you're getting turnovers right here. Short field. You
Real
should
quick,
be able to score points at will.
I just want to say, part of this I do believe. Could they playing vanilla on purpose? Yes, I think they are. I don't think it has anything to do with playoff teams. I think they're playing vanilla offense on purpose because Dak's not comfortable and you don't want to have long developing routes. So they're doing a lot of screen passes and a lot of quick routes to get the ball out of his hands. That's why you're seeing a lot of hitches and quick passes. They don't feel confident in the run game. So again, they're trying different things, but it's vanilla because as a fan, we're like, yes, be aggressive and attack and attack and attack. But I think they're like, I have a quarterback who's not confident right now. I have an offensive line I'm not confident in as a play caller. I have receivers who are dropping passes who may have some doubts in their head. Like, let's simplify it. So I do think that they are playing vanilla on purpose. I don't think it has anything to do with saving video because they've already seen what we can do when we're peak offense. So I don't know that it really helps, but yeah, I do think it is vanilla, and I think it's on purpose right now.
Yeah, and see, vanilla, and I think that's and let's run with that. It's the wrong approach. I'm sorry. Going vanilla is not going to help your team get back on track. It's just not. Not in this league.
Agreed.
It just won't do it. So, you need to find a different route if that's, your concepts, over there calling plays that going vanilla is going to get us back and get in rhythm and do these things. No, it's not. You're not playing preseason. Flush it. But yeah, I mean, we'll see this week, obviously. Another question here says, do y'all think the Cowboys offense is prepared for everything except life without Zeke? This is the first season where he hasn't been a threat, which is crazy, right? Because Zeke still has over 800 yards rushing, right? I mean, is he look, and we've said this before, 2016-17 Zeke isn't coming back. Like, even into 18, right? That Zeke's gone, I think. I think on the backside of that, a lot of that, some of that too, is this offensive line isn't what it was then either. This offensive line isn't as good.
Right.
Those are just facts. It happens. Now, I think if we go prior to Zeke's injury, though, he had some great games. 140 yards, right? Doing some things. The injury, I think, is the big thing that's kind of taken away from how he's producing some now, along with the shuffling that's going on the offensive line. Is this offense prepared for life without Zeke? I wouldn't say that.
I'll just throw a quick caveat. I think this is not the first season where he hasn't been a threat. I don't think he was a threat at all last year either. But I actually think he's better this year than he was last year.
Right, agreed.
Pre-injury, but yeah, I mean, if we're not, we need to be, because that's not the type of running back that most teams roll with in the NFL. The NFL is modernized where you need running backs who are legit receiving threats, not guys that are just checkdowns and catching screen passes. You want running backs who can run those wheel routes successfully, which Zeke has done, but we don't utilize them in that way. In most teams in the NFL are having success having multiple running backs to keep those fresh legs going against you, like the era of the Emmitt Smith running backs that barely ever come off the field, which kudos to Zeke for being able to do that. But those days are gone for the most part. I mean, you still have Derrick Henry and a few guys here and there, but even the other guys that you think of, like a Nick Chubb, have a Kareem Hunt, or they have a Dearness Johnson there. Like they have other guys there that aren't the same as them. Like Kareem Hunt has good hands. He's a good receiver. He can do a lot of the stuff that Chubb does, but he's a nice yin to the yang. And I think as we move forward, we need to say, even when Zeke's fully healthy again, which hopefully is this week or next week, we need Tony Pollard or Corey Clement or Ito Smith or whoever it is to be a part of every game, not just every once in a while we'll make sure that they're taking advantage of. It should be a game plan of Zeke's going to get 15 to 18 touches and this guy's going to get 10 to 12 touches, and that's what we do every game no matter who we play. We're going to find our ways to do that. And I don't think we have that strategy right now with Kellen. Maybe he'll get there. I don't think he's – because I think right now that's the same thing we're complaining about with receivers is there should be a game plan of, hey, I have my 15 plays pre-scripted.
Yeah.
I want CeeDee Lamb to touch the ball. I want Amari Cooper to get a target. I want Michael Gallup to get a look. Like, we're not really doing that right now. And I think we're kind of in the same situation with running, which is why it feels that way. So, no, I don't think we're prepared. I do think we should be, but we're not.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. Look, I'm not saying that these guys are those guys when they were playing together. You look at, to me, I think, if you look at Ingram and Kamara, it'd be nice to see that kind of usage with Zeke and Pollard in those kind of splits and those kind of ways. It would be nice to see that. I hate that he's hurt, that Zeke got hurt this year. Yeah, that's fair, because I don't think he's getting back to who he was pre-injury. Yeah, man, it's been a long time on that knee, right? The Broncos game, that he did something else like 2 games later or whatever, and he's still kind of Chiefs game, right? So he's still kind of lumbering. I'm with you there. It's like I don't think he's getting back to what he was pre-injury. I think pre-injury was pretty damn good, Zeke, to be honest with you, and I agree with Matt O. Much more of a threat this year pre-injury than he was at any point in time last year before that. But again, can you get that split with somebody with him and kind of move forward? Go ahead.
I like what you said about the Kamara Ingram combination. That's exactly what this team will be good going forward with Pollard and Zeke. That combination. Zeke is, in my opinion, is not the type of guy to just keep handing the ball off. And with the most I think a change of pace with both of them would be great. And also would be great for this game this week here, implement Corey Clement or Ito, one of them, for more carries. This will help Zeke and Pollard get a little bit more rest.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Corey Clement had 13 carries against Washington, right?
Right.
How many games has Pollard had 13 carries this year?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Pollard's had 13 carries in the game this year, to be honest with you. And I meant to look that up. I got caught up. I wanted to look that up before we got here tonight.
It feels like the Chargers game, maybe, if any, but I don't even know if that was, because I know you had a big run, so that's
right. And it's kind of right, and it's kind of crazy, that Corey Clement, and then they kind of got into the post game, and after Zeke got up, he was limping a little bit, and now Mike McCarthy says, well, it's being a little cautious with Zeke and what was going on. I'm like, but you decided to do it with Corey Clement and not when Tony Pollard's right. It's like, it's just those kind of things when we talk about this offense and what's going on that like makes me like want to pull my beard out.
That's on point. You said Atlanta, right?
I said the Chargers.
Chargers. He had 13 for 109. And then in the Giant game, October 10th, he had 14 for 75. After that,
14, wow.
most he had was 11.
Yeah, outside. Crazy. Oh, he's only had 3 games of 10 plus carries this season.
Right.
Okay. I mean, see, it's just stuff like that makes me want to bang my head against the wall.
Yeah.
At times. But with that being said, when it comes to the Giants, I think the Cowboys win this game walk away fashion. This offense is going to get back right a little bit. How about 31-10 Cowboys?
I like it.
Anybody else? Everybody thinks the Cowboys are going to win at least, whether this offense gets back or not.
No, I like it. I just need to like it a little bit more because I think we're gonna get a 40 burger on them. I really do. I'm not even saying that optimistically. I really feel like this is the game with the team we're playing that it should be the perfect storm. Like if we don't score 40 on them, I'll be shocked.
Yes.
Okay.
I did want to say real quick, Ted, you're right. They did force feed CD the ball early against Washington. We haven't done that a lot of games, but when they did, it was also wide receiver screens and things like that. And again, I don't want him stopping. I want him going upfield. We should absolutely bring our benches everywhere.
Take our benches everywhere. I love it.
We don't need your benches.
Yeah,
put them in the locker.
I love it. The 40 burger. I'm here for the 40 burgers. I'm always hungry. I will say this. It's been a long time since I enjoyed watching the Cowboys play defense. And I tell y'all what, I was like, man, I was watching the game. I was like, man, I'm really enjoying watching the defense of the ball. This is so great. It's been so long since I've enjoyed watching the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys. I cannot wait to see what this defense does this week against the next man up Giants over there. They got some issues. Spoody, what do you got for the score this week, man?
Well, listen, my man Roberts, he's on my plan. I say 50.
Ooh,
I'm saying 50. And I give you with a hot take. Well, no,
not going to be 50.
Because they should have scored 45 the way that it was going. They could have did it if they would have been. So I'm going to give you with a hot take. Why I say 50. I see 3 defensive scores. 3 defensive scores.
Ooh.
I'm telling you guys, a pick 6 and 2 fumble recoveries for a touchdown. What's been going in the last 3 games is not going to stop. The offense will get it right, mixed with what the defense is going to do in New York City.
Yeah.
50 points.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
No. Steve, y'all, I didn't say no. Spody said 50.
No, I know, Steve.
No,
I
said us in that. I said 31-10.
I'm saying it.
I said 31-10, Steve. Don't put me in that.
The defense the defense are going to score 3 times. Watch.
I mean, if you get 21 points from the defense, I think most of us think even with the struggling offensive line and an offense that's been struggling, the Giants are not a good opponent.
Right.
They're not playing good football. They already have some key players out. Lindsey Williams is a huge loss. So, I mean, when you have that stuff going on, we should be able to score 30 at least on the offensive side. So if you're getting an extra 21 on defense, it's possible. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible.
Anything's possible.
Wait a minute. I mean, understand this. There's a record that can be broken on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
There's a record that can be broken on Sunday, and that is Javon Curse's rookie sack record, which is 14.
It's true.
Parsons needs 2.5. Listen, all I'm saying is 3 defensive scores for the touchdowns.
Okay. All right.
Who scores though? Can we get that too? You already predicted 3. You may as well give us some names. Who's scoring?
Well, I'm gonna give Diggs. Diggs will get a pick 6. I feel a pick 6 coming from Diggs. That's 1 automatically. And I feel with Michael Parsons, he's gonna cause 2 fumbles, 2 sacks, and for anybody from the defensive line will get that ball and keep on going. I'm gonna give 1 to Randy Gregory. You know what? And I like the big guys. I'm a big guy myself. I'm gonna give 1 to Neville Gallimore. I'm going to give 1 to the Canadian Bulldozer. I want to see a highlight with the big man comes up.
I thought you were going to say Carlos Watkins, man. Pick 6, he had like a 4.5 40 going on. He was flying.
Yeah,
facts. The thick 6, as it was.
Thick 6,
the thick 6. Man, look. I'm on a campaign on your 3 defensive touchdowns, and we're talking about Michael Parsons and getting him over the hump for not only defensive rookie of the year, but defensive player of the year. He's got to get a pick 6 or a scoop and score. He needs that to the resume. He needs
that signature moment. Yep.
He needs a signature
moment. He almost had that pick. He almost had that pick.
Yeah. 30. He needs that. If he gets one of those bad boys here down the stretch, I think we're really going to ramp up and talk about him getting not only rookie of the year, but defensive player of the year. I mean, if you listen to Dominic Foxworth, he said he should be the MVP of the league. And I was like, Dom, calm down. Calm down, Dom.
Oh, no. Listen, let me tell you something. When all the Washington fans just left, and when Michael Parsons came over, everybody was getting the MVP, and he was crying, MVP. Listen, make no mistake about it. And I believe it was either Professor or BJ, you guys shared that post where y'all was comparing Michael Parsons' numbers to the former defensive plays of the years.
Right.
He has eclipsed that. Even Ryan Clark came out and said on TV, and we know Ryan Clark is not a bias, he's a former Steeler. He came out and said, I don't care who your favorite defensive player is. This guy is better. He's playing all over that line, whether it's rushing from the outside, the inside, going on the defensive line. He's not staying one spot. So 29-27.
Yeah. I'm just throwing it up there. Go ahead, finish your.
Sure. So, like I was saying, Michael Parsons right now is playing in the elite 11. Here's another thing. Let's be honest. He's not part of an elite defense. He's making this defense going to that elite status. He is as a rookie, putting in the work. Right now, I can't wait for Mel Kiper and Tom McShiggs. I love when they have a special draft show, like we do it all over again. With the first pick in the NFL draft, that team takes Michael Parsons. He is the best rookie this season, hands down.
I mean, Spoony, let me ask you real quick. So you said in a redraft he'd be number 1 pick. I'm not so sure that Jacksonville Jaguars right now, and I like Trevor, wouldn't say, yeah, I would much rather have Michael Parsons right now versus Trevor. Long term, I think you get the other answer because you want your franchise quarterback. But I think right now they would say, yeah, give me Micah. Trevor's struggling right now. Zach Wilson's struggling right now. There's a lot of quarterbacks that were taken early. It's going to take time for them.
Urban don't make it any easier.
I was going to say, Urban Meyer out there kicking the kicker in the leg and telling him he kicks. That's some wild stuff.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it is time. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. It is. We ain't gonna do that tonight, Tug. Tug, we ain't gonna get on that train tonight, Tug. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, no longer, or formerly known as, I should say, the Spoonies Minute. We've now turned this into the sermon. We couldn't get him to a minute. We tried. It just couldn't get it done. So if you tuned in just now, or if you've been here the whole time, here's your treat. Spoonies Sermon is on deck.
Well, I want to start off first with some of the Cowboy fans at Washington. I was very happy to see us come out and support this team, and we really celebrate this ass whipping we gave in the first half. At least was ass whipping. Second half was kind of even, but at the same time we won that game and we came out and show out. But here's my issue to these Cowboy fans: when Dak was struggling, we're hearing about the Tony Romo conversation. Let me explain this. I love Tony Romo. Hell, I love any Cowboy player who put on a uniform. Get over it. He is no longer here. He is in CBS doing his thing. If for some reason you are the type of Cowboy fan that got Tony Romo posters, action figures, underwear, curtains in your bathroom, but Tony Romo, listen, you need help. You need help. This is Dak Prescott's football team. This Romo was done in 16. We are in 21, going to 22. Move on. My next step. Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy, Cowboys offense. Y'all playing New York City. See, this is where I'm from. This is where I'm at. My home. The shit that we did in the second half of last week's game, no. This is the time right now to correct all the fucking wrong that's been bothering this team the last couple of weeks. You wanted the defense to rise to the occasion. They had surpassed that. They had went above and beyond to be where they are, and are showing right now. They are showing the NFL right now that when we see y'all in the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers, Kellen Moore, and all those other teams out there, guess what? We are coming for you. We are coming for you. But the problem is this. In order to beat these teams, we need a complete team. And right now, this offense, Dak Prescott, let me explain to you, Dak Prescott. You are, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the NFC. You have shown doubters that you can play in this league. When Tony Romo went down, you took that toy. Listen, all these toys, that's bad. That's bad for business. It's bad for business, y'all.
Oh,
Spoonie, keep going. We're
When
just doing our
Romo
thing.
gave you that torch, you took it. You told Cowboy Nation, I'm the guy going forward. I am the guy moving forward. This is my team. Continue that, Dak Prescott. Don't listen to these fans here compare you to Tony Romo. He's out the league. He's making more money CBS doing what he got to do. This is your team right here. Don't listen to ESPN. They don't know anything. I mean, my God, we see what's going on ESPN, right, y'all? We got hairlines moving. We got little entanglements going on. They don't know crap over there. So my thing is this, Dak Prescott. Take care of your fucking business, what you got going on, and take out New York. Put them those fucking points. The 50 burger, not 45. Let the NFL know that guess what? We're going to clinch a playoff spot this Sunday. And next Sunday, we are going to clinch the division. And on top of that, when we see, I never forgot about that dude. You know who that dude is, right? You remember Fantasy Island that dude, the plane boss, the plane? Kyler Murray. That's right. You're that dude. Understand this. Cowboy Nation never forgot when you called us bullshit. You called us bullshit. Right? Remember that. The clock is ticking.
yeah.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. When we see your asses in Arizona, your ass gonna disappear. You know why? Because when the line chops your ass in half, all you're gonna have is legs running around. And guess what? At that time right there, division winners,
Yeah.
number 1 seed is coming.
I like it, Spoon, but I ain't gonna lie. You said the Tony Romo action figure. I had to go grab it real quick. I felt attacked.
Oh, listen.
I felt like you attacked
Make
me.
no mistake about it. Listen, make no mistake about it.
I'm just joking, Spoon.
No, I
But
love
I'm just
Tony
joking.
Romo. I love Tony. It's the past, man. It's been 5 or 6 years. Bounce
Yeah,
with that.
absolutely. Absolutely. Man, hey, we appreciate y'all rocking with us as always. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Should I tease who we're having next week or should I wait?
You should tease it.
Tease.
You should
Okay.
tease it.
I should tease it?
Yeah.
All right. Next week at 8 p.m. We're gonna have a pretty cool guest. We're gonna have a pretty cool guest here. If you're in Twitterverse, you probably definitely know her. She could possibly be a mother of maybe your favorite Cowboy fan or your favorite Cowboy player on the team. I don't know. It's possible. We'll definitely give some more deets and whatnot as the week progresses and we line everything up. But yeah, we have a really cool guest next week. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure y'all are ready to rock 8 p.m. next Wednesday to check out as we have a conversation with the one and only. Let's let the cat out the bag. Or wait.
Nah.
You want to tease?
Keep it. Keep it. Keep it.
You'll keep it? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we'll keep it. We'll have a really cool guest next week and sometime before Wednesday. If you pay attention to us on Twitter, you'll definitely find out who it is moving forward. As always, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Make sure you hit that sub button. Hey, man, don't keep it a secret. Tell a friend. Tell them to come over here, sub to us as well, the Stargate Podcast channel. And, of course, as all of our Twitter handles are right there, come follow us. Mary Ellis should be back on with us next week. Like I said, she had to take care of some business. She was on a trip, so she was out playing some hooky this week. She'll be back on with us as well, too. Final word, Matt, before we get out of here, man?
You go ahead, Spoon.
Just word. Not a sermon nor a minute. Just a word.
Number 1 seed.
Okay. Number 1 seed.
In the grass.
All right. I like it.
Grass.
I mean, it's there. So things got to happen. It's there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Grass.
your last word for
Yeah,
tonight.
I think we have like an 8% chance at the 1 seed, but that can change quickly. All you need is one team to drop a game, and then suddenly that's a double-digit 20, 30% chance. So, yeah, my word is just what we said. Let's get Connor Williams back in the starting lineup.
I like that. I like both of those. Spoony, if it's number 1 seed, so be it. I've always said I just want to be out of the 4 seed. I would love to get the 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take the 3. Just an opportunity for us to possibly host more than one playoff game would be pretty legit on my end. But I'm gonna enjoy watching the defense Sunday, and that feels freaking awesome to say that. Bring back the Doomsday. Every Super Bowl that we pretty much have ever won, we had some iteration of that Doomsday defense. So Doomsday defense. Let's keep that. Let's keep that. Yeah, 3 defensive scores. I like it. So let's keep that train rolling.
3.
And with that being said, we'll catch you on the flip side. Y'all have a great evening.